Welcome back to another episode of Enemy of the States Dank Pod Stash Hot Tokes. This is episode number 12. And today we're talking not only with co-host Daniel Johnson, but also with Christopher Ledbetter. And I'm not going to get into the details of the situation because it's all hearsay until it comes from Chris himself. But what I will say is that it was almost a similar situation, I guess, to the Whiskey Warrior 556 situation in New York, which we covered on Hot Tokes, I believe, before. So without any further ado, before getting any, garbled mess of what we thought happened, Chris, why don't you tell us exactly what went down that I think it was the Libertarians of the West and a couple other pages were kind of contacting you and the rest of us out here in Boogaloo internet land with. What exactly happened the other day?
Okay, so it basically all started Sunday night. I was raised in here at this town that I live in now, again, McLeod, Oklahoma, and I live pretty close to where my family lives out here. My mother and sister, they live pretty close, almost right by each other, down a dirt road. And there's this police officer that has a girlfriend there now. I guess he doesn't live there. McLeod police officers, and he was coming home from wherever, off duty, uniform and a sweatshirt, and sees my sister there in her car, and stops her while driving home and says, "Hey, who are you and what are you doing here?" And she says, "Well, I live here, and everything." He's just saying, "Okay, well," and then my parents, they're driving out at the same time. So they catch him dumping trash in the dumpster while he's coming in, and they ask him, "Hey, what's the problem? This is our daughter here. Is there a problem?" And he said, "Well, no, I was just stopping them because they look suspicious. How long has she lived here? Where does she live?" And they're like, "She lives across from me. She lives here her whole life. She grew up here." And he just kept asking, "Where does she live? What is about her?" And they were like, "Okay, well," and they're like, "By the way, you can't dump your trash in our dumpster. You don't live here, and you just can't do that." After that, he turned on his lights, started screaming at them, said, "I'm the boss of you. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do, not the other way around." And from that point forward, I got a call from where I live a few miles away, not even, and said, "Hey, there's an officer here screaming at us. We don't know why." He said that he was the chief of police and also that he was a sergeant, while in civilian clothes with the lights blaring on his police truck. And so I come there, didn't know what was happening. So I throw on my rifle that I always have here because I've had to have it for them coming out all the time. They've threatened us with weapons and stuff when we're unarmed or armed. So throw on my rifle, jump in my Jeep, drive down there as fast as I can. Get up there, see him stopped in the middle of the road with both of them, and I just get out of the Jeep and start walking up. And I said, "Hey, what's the problem?" He drives off immediately as soon as I get there with a rifle. He's like, "Bye-bye," and drives off to the house across from there, where it's like literally around my parents' house, his girlfriend's house. And so I was just like, wow. We go back up, and I'm talking to them about it. Like, what's going on? They told me all of this. And we hear him screaming over, I'm guessing we figured out now, it was either his personal phone or a take-home radio, saying there was a guy with a rifle threatening to kill him. And that's when they started calling in everyone off of dispatch channels. Because we verified it now through Lincoln County, through McLeod Police, through the chief. Never recorded on any dispatch. All of these people that were there were called through personal channels.
So just all around gross misuse of power. Excuse me. And I wanted to ask a couple things too to clear up some of the communication from the online chatter. There were people saying you showed up in full kit. Was it full kit or just a rifle?
It was full kit. Yeah, I threw my body armor on and my rifle over it and ran out there because I didn't know what was happening. They just said, "Hey, there's," and some police officer here harassing us. And I was like, well, I don't know what, they pulled guns on us for coming up to them peacefully before. So I treat it like it's any other thug or any other person. I don't care if they got a badge on. I would come in full kit if they told me, hey, there's a bunch of people here threatening us for no reason.
Good.
Same thing.
Good.
Didn't threaten to kill no one, didn't say anything to no one, got out of my vehicle and said, what's the problem?
Right. Yeah. I agree completely.
Now,
so what happened after he made all these calls that weren't recorded through dispatch, all these personal calls to bring people out there?
So basically from then we were like, okay, well, we know he's calling other people in, and I know how long it takes them because they sent out like 9 vehicles for me before for just seeing me with a weapon, because people call in and they jump on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, we got about 30 minutes till there's a bunch of people here, because I was thinking they were going through actual dispatch and they were going to send, SWAT teams, whatever, which is usually what they do if somebody says that you're threatening to kill an officer through dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
But it waited longer. We blocked off the road, started hearing sirens in the distance everywhere, cars like flooring, just speeding down the road surrounding us. And I was like, still thinking it went through dispatch. I'm like, oh, it's taking longer. Like, they're actually calling out SWAT. Like, they're going to come through here and ram the driveway, even though we got a truck parked behind it. So went talked to my mom. At this time, there was other vehicles, police vehicles showing up to his house, 3 other of them. And they were speeding up the driveway with their lights on, just showing up at his house while the other ones were showing up. They just went to his house to get out and talk to him. And, we figured out later that it wasn't all through dispatch. And the chief of police, when you listen to the audio, of course, he's saying, oh, that was his personal friends over for dinner. Coming down with lights on the road,
right,
off duty, going to dinner with their lights blaring. So I got over there with my family. I was like, hey, there's 2 of us. My stepdad here, he's a Vietnam vet. Like, the guy's been put in a body bag twice. He's a good guy, but can't move as well as he used to. And he's got my rifle, and I have my other rifle. And I said, hey, there's only 2 of us here. I hadn't even got word out to anyone at this point. I wasn't calling for help because I was moving the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So I barely got out a call to my friends, my personal friends out here. And I said, hey, get over here now. We may be getting raided, very possibly. I told them, I was like, I'm going to get you out with our other 2 vehicles, off-road vehicles we have. I'm like, we're going to drive around this pond over here, off the side, through the woods, down to where this gate is on the back road where you can drive around it. And I shut all the lights off on the vehicles, had them drive around, because I told them, I was like, we don't have enough people here. When they get here, they're not going to come peacefully. They're just going to start guns blazing, guns up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we can hide them, but we don't have people. We had our whole family there. We have another renter right down the road from us with little kids and everything. They were getting their little kids in the car and driving them out before this happened. They're like, we're getting the kids out of here. And so got them there. They're sitting on the road, no listen, and we're just basically there in the woods looking from a flank position up the road where they'd have to come up. And we went over there to his step grandson's house, and we went over there, and we were just sitting in his garage, watching them from there. And that's when, you started hearing the sirens more in the video. It's like the sirens getting closer, a lot of them. I was like, well, they got to be pulling up anytime, but they keep stopping. You kept hearing the sirens start and then stop again. They were staging men on the side roads, which we have video of and multiple witnesses of now, even though they said they were never there. And that's when we saw a helicopter start to come in. Yeah.
Sorry, what is the police department there again? Or is it a sheriff's department?
It's McLeod Police Department, and we live right on the edge of Lincoln County, which is out of their jurisdiction in the first place.
Okay.
Right.
So.
And, it wouldn't have been valid jurisdiction either way, because it's all just bullshit abuse of power at this point. Even the call-ins for backup, quote unquote backup and whatnot anyways. So yeah, and a couple more things that were floating around on social media. I was surprised at the few bootlickers that even showed up on these posts on Boogaloo pages. Two things that were said. One was that someone looked up your name, and this was to serve warrants, which we, through talking to you now, can see was not true. And the second one, someone said, you know, what does he expect if he shows up to an unlawful stop with full kit? And it's like, well, why wouldn't you show up if your family's being threatened unlawfully or in any
Right.
way with full kit?
Unless you want to lay down and die, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing I saw was that there was like a personal beef with this cop, and he had a personal thing with your family or something.
Basically, we'd never had any interaction with him before then.
Okay. Yeah. And I figured that. So what is this cop's name? Did you find out?
He's a Jones. He told us that he was a Sergeant Jones and that he was the chief of police at the same time, which are contradicting, but he is neither the chief, which is Wes Elliott, or a sergeant. So both were lies, both impersonating two different things while off duty and out of uniform.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So let's talk about, so it's different from the red flag scenario, which is pretty much the, you know, rally the troops call that you get, well, that we got with Whiskey Warrior and that we're expecting. A scenario like that to take place, to, you know, be the first shots of the Boogaloo or whatever you want to fucking call it. But it's just as legitimate if anything like this happens. I want to make clear that when anything like this happens and the call goes out, I will share it immediately, because we know that we don't have the organization and communication that we should yet, as far as being, you know, Boogaloo civilians, if you will. And so it's important to start getting the call out early. We need to organize better with our communication and our procedures and whatnot. But it's good that you were able to get to your friends and were able to start getting the call out there on social media. It's a powerful weapon that we can utilize, that the state and law enforcement, anybody who's trying to infringe on any rights, is actually afraid of, based on an article that I'll link in the description that I believe was put out today, you know, detailing all of this stuff, saying that we're all being put on lists for being part of Boogaloo groups and for participating in this kind of thing. So it didn't come down to them raiding you. What was your next contact with the police when you were sitting there waiting, or did everybody just disperse?
Basically, what saved us from actually getting raided was my family. My mother and sister got out while we were sitting there on the flank position from where they were going to come up. And they drove down the back road. They went to tribal lands at the tribal casino because they knew there's tons of video cameras there. And they got there and they started talking to the tribe and the actual Lincoln County officers who actually have jurisdiction there. And they said, oh, we didn't hear anything about it. It wasn't called over dispatch, or we would have been there too, you know, of course. And they said, okay, well, we'll come out and investigate it. Do you feel like your lives are in danger? You know, and they called me out there and I was like, well, yes, if I didn't have a weapon on me, my life would have been very in danger, you know? So, and they're sending up more men. So yeah, definitely. So they came out there, and that's when you heard the sirens. You didn't hear any sirens anymore on the side roads.
Right.
You know, so I guess they thought that they were going to get caught out of jurisdiction, but the people that were already there, like the 15 or whatever unaccounted people, were already there because they were walking up through the woods. There was a woman officer hiding in the trees. There was another one walking up on someone's property through the trees. Like, they were just literally walking through people's property, sneaking up to our gate.
Sure.
So
just full on complete disregard to anything lawful, despite what a joke that is anyways, and mostly because of situations like this. They don't give a shit. They're going to do whatever they're going to do to cover their ass, no matter what. And this is a perfect example of that. Dan, I know you had some more.
Now, so you had you did have some people actually show up and help. How many people would you guess?
We had like
meet
five.
there.
We had like five people show up. Like two of them before the officers left, and the others like right after. So
Was this right after you kind of put out the call on Facebook?
yeah, I did that when we were sitting there, and the chopper started coming in, because I was like,
Oh,
holy shit, this is an actual call. I went inside of his house in the dark, because we were keeping our phones off so they couldn't see us over there. And I put out as much stuff as I could, just put it on there and said, hey, this is the coordinates, get people here. I'm trying to get my family out right now. And that's all I could do at that time. I just thought we were going to get overrun. So
yeah. Yeah, I think I saw the video where you're yelling at your mom, that they're not gonna care. They're just gonna shoot.
yeah, that's when the other three came up for his dinner invites, and she was going out there to try to talk to them, and she says, here, get me on your camera. If they shoot me, you got it on camera. And I'm like,
Ugh.
they don't care. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be fine. I just need to let y'all get out of here.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing that you got. Get your sister and your mom safe.
Yeah, it sounds like you handled it.
Yeah, and then they basically saved us too.
Yeah, it sounds like you handled it as well as it could have been handled in this situation, and people need to take note and remember this. I think getting the word out as quickly as possible is good, but that's always a hard thing to figure out exactly, should I call now? Should I put out the call on Facebook? Anything like that. And yeah, what was your decision-making process as far as timing it?
As far as timing that, like I said, I was moving, trying to get them out, thinking I was going to get overrun. So, which could have been very realistic if they didn't figure out it was a personal hit. So like I said, as soon as I had time, I was like, hey, because I already called in my personal buddy to get on over there, and that was all I could do. So I just wanted to get the word out in case I wasn't there tomorrow.
Sure.
Basically.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I see what you're saying with all these people saying that, and it's I think it's funny because I've been in combat. I've been in, very horrible, scary situations. I've had contact with every federal agency there is upon return from civilian work overseas. And I still got my face up on this stuff. This has been my life since I've been back in this country. So I saw some of the pages that were sharing it in the first place and then saying, oh, we got a Whiskey Warrior 2.0. And then it's kind of like they're almost upset after I survived and didn't surrender, and they surrendered to us. And I'm not in prison as a whatever they tell me I am. And
Sure.
I'm like, no, I actually didn't surrender, and they're still coming after me.
Right.
So have you got threats since then?
Yeah, if you watch all of the videos when we went to the chief's, the actual McLeod Police Department the next day at 3 p.m., if you watch the videos with him, and he says, this is definitely the not last time you'll be hearing from me. We'll be speaking with you again right before he leaves. And if you listen to the whole audio, that's the most incriminating, damning part of all of this. The black video converted all audio that my mother took inside of the police station while I was there with my rifle again. And that whole audio goes from him agreeing that people should be arrested just for disrespecting officers to straight up at past 26 minutes, it goes to him justifying sexual harassment of the McLeod police officers at the high school of our renter's daughter, which we have multiple witnesses. And he denied that he knew that this girl was a porn star that he's showing these high school girls, which it still doesn't matter if he didn't know, but even what he was still doing, saying that they were beautiful, showing them pictures of actresses and porn stars, is still sexual harassment. And we would be arrested or,
Absolutely.
definitely at least arrested for it. And he's saying, oh, it's okay because he said he was sorry. That's what he all said while he knew he was being recorded.
Jesus.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just blatantly obvious that that cops are no friends of the average person. Not that they're above average, but anyone outside of what they are. And it's good to stay vigilant. And it's interesting that you brought up that other stuff with the high school and whatnot too, because it goes past just violating rights just because they feel like it, because he's driving home and sees a car there. This bleeds into how they act all the time. So I guess the main message from all this is be wary of cops and stop believing that they're there to help you. And you did the right thing in getting ready and going there to help, your family, your tribe, because nobody else is, especially when they go through these back channels, these fake calls that don't even go through dispatch and whatnot. It's going to be a lot of people organized against you.
Yeah. Yep. So
I would say like, I mean, I think you did everything right, in the, with your circumstances. You didn't know exactly when to put out that call, but I think you did everything right. I would say maybe in the future, if something happens based on your situation now, I would say put out the call sooner, as soon as you're like, oh shit, something's going down,
Yeah, that's what I'm telling people. I'm like, I'm about it. I've already risking my life every day as one person. Like, I was walked inside the police station when he told me he was going to arrest me with my kid on. And I said, no, if you tell me I can't even have my pistol on, I'm putting everything on and I'm walking in here.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's
Right.
here. Like, go ahead and arrest me. Like, you've already threatened to basically kill my whole family over nothing. So I'm like, I'm out here risking my life every day. I just got back from the Oklahoma State Capitol today, speaking there, which was planned months before this. There was only like 50 people there, but I publicly spoke there in full kit again with my whole family there, So
Wow.
Right.
I haven't even posted that video yet because I just got here,
And so
Damn.
based on what you've learned from what happened here, the experience, are you tightening up your community defense, your communications with people in your immediate area?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we were working up to it because we've been doing this stuff for a while. It's been progressively getting worse and worse. And, but yeah, we're getting more people. I've met a lot of those people I didn't even know that showed up for me, and now they're, one of them, he was at the Oklahoma State Capitol today too. And,
Nice.
They came out for me. We're there, and we've got contacts with all of them and even extra people now. We have radios, we have all of this. I had my ex-Marines on the East Coast, because I went up there for them in Virginia, and all of them, their families. They said, if any shots fired, we're coming down with everybody we got up here.
Good.
So do you think you said that you had been planning this to speak at the Capitol for months? You don't think that this cop showed up to try and intimidate because of that? Like possibly they knew about that and they were trying to intimidate you and possibly your family? You don't think that, do you?
I don't think it's connected there. I think they're
Okay.
very incompetent and highly unintelligent. But as far as all of it, yeah. Now the chief himself admitted, yeah, they want me dead. I just told them, that you're gonna have to pay if you're even able to try, much less succeed. But yeah.
Well, you hurt their pride, so I mean, yeah. We'll be keeping an eye and watching, for messages from you and stuff.
Yeah, we're going to need to. We need to keep, even though we're all spread out across the country, it's a real thing. The concern over the Boogaloo and concern, even if it's not something silly like, the name of a meme, the Boogaloo, this whole situation, the way cops interact with people, the way the state is violating people on a daily basis is concerning. And we need to be ready to act, nationwide. There are thousands of us, maybe not as many as some other groups, but we've seen what we can do just over social media. You've seen what you can do to pull people in when you need them in your local area. And we need to keep moving forward with this kind of communication and training and anything like that. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good quick show for us. Is there anything you wanted to add, if you're still there, Chris, before we call it a show?
Yeah, I'm back on now. It reconnected. So yeah, just basically, I'll be adding that video of my speech there, and yeah, just for any of the people, saying anything about it. Like, obviously, I'm even on video proof of all of this. Didn't surrender. I'm risking my shit every day. This has been my life since I've been back here. And if you think you're free in any state, you probably ain't doing enough for this and you need to get outside more, because if you go out and actually exercise your rights like I'm doing, you win it. And if you try to be peaceful, you'll end up like I was being before, disarmed, guns on your family, threatened. And now that I'm coming out violently threatening violence against them and telling them I'm going to not surrender anything anymore, now they're backing off, but they still want to come after you, of course.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to send you a friend request on Facebook so I can tag you when this episode goes up, and I'd appreciate if you could send me the links to any videos or anything you want me to link in the description for this episode so that people can see your speech and the videos from Sunday night and all that. And with that, thanks for coming on. Dan, thanks for being here. Glad we can get the word out on this and clear everything up. It's important that after these situations, we do get everything clear and in the open and take away whatever we can from these situations to learn for the next one. Thanks for watching Dank Pod / Hot Tokes number 12, and we'll see you all next time.